for the official results.
Yeah, baby. Oh, yes. There's another one there in the teaser.
This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
We are putting a bow on the 82nd annual Texas International Fishing Tournament from South Padre Island, Texas, down the southern tip of the Lone Star State. Stop number 9 of 10 of the Sport Fishing Championship, the Gulf Division. And in the TIFT event, Sigsbee Deep, about 400 points ahead of Quantified. It was a race there till the very end. I'm Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller, and Quantified kept them honest, didn't they? I mean, they were trying to win that Gulf Championship, but they were trying to win this standalone event as well.
They were duking it out, and Quantified came in with a hot 3 blue marlin catch, where Sigsbee only had 1, but they followed it up with white marlin and sailfish and just kept racking and stacking.
Yeah, they did. Sigsbee Deep with 10 white marlin on the weekend. Our playing field down there at the southern tip of Texas, the Gulf of Mexico, played host various canyons, rigs, drill ships to talk about throughout the week. Welcome inside our SFC studios. Well, we wrapped it up. It was our final day. It was a 2-day event, but both days we saw those two teams on top. They show that they had the right stuff throughout.
Yep, they had the right stuff for sure. They caught a ton of fish, 14 for Sigsbee, and I believe Quantified had 8. But of those 8 fish, they had 3 blue marlin, and those were very point precious, and that took them to just below Sigsbee. And, you know, it's a pretty exciting game when you can catch 100 billfish or more in a tournament with 80-something boats. It was a big event. It was a great event. The fish were biting. People were having a great time on campus, at the marinas, and the kids were involved. I mean, you talk about a tournament that takes everybody into account. This is the one. TIFT does it all.
The one guy we're missing is Ronnie Moore. Let's go on site with Site 1 and check in with Ronnie. And I believe they're doing the trophy presentation. That's Sigsbee Deep just behind. They're doing the trophy presentation this morning, handing out all those paychecks. I mean, it was a big weekend for the TIFT event. It might be their 82nd running, but this may be one of the best.
Yeah, guys, I said yesterday there's no better time to win the TIFT. I mean, you could win the 50th and it's monumental. You could win the 75th and it means something important for the history. But the 82nd means just as much. And in recent modern-day history, obviously rules have changed. It used to be a 4-day event. It's been a 3-day event. For a 2-day events, the 101 billfish and also the Bay Division, how successful it was there. We saw plenty of sails and white. What a tournament for the TIFT organization, the Texas International Fishing Tournament. I was glad to be here in person to witness this, because I'd heard stories about what we would see in South Padre Island, and it did not disappoint. Port Isabel, obviously South Padre Island, all the communities around get together. Normally when we come to an event, you want, like, a community wants to own it. They want that. All these communities here pitch in together and make it happen together as a team, and that is why the TIFT is so successful. To see Sigsbee Deep put 10 white marlin on the board, that's the most white marlin we've seen other than the white marlin only event basically in the DR earlier this year, and to see 14 billfish from them to take the title this week, what a performance by Sigsbee Deep. Hey, they loved the CBS show earlier in the day when they got to see themselves on national TV. Very cool to introduce that to this sport.
Yeah, Ronnie, and looking at those numbers, you talk about all the white marlin, but 14 billfish in total. That best Quantified's ECBC total of 12. I mean, that was impressive there as well. But the billfish were very plentiful. Did you talk to that team? Did they do anything different? Did they give you any inside scoop? Because I know they don't talk to us throughout, but did you ever get in their ear a little bit in the past day or two?
Sigsbee Deep was sitting here at the dock this morning talking to them, and they really explained that some of these guys can have different approaches. You can go farther offshore where the rigs are, like Rising Suns talked about, 130, 150 miles away. That's a long way away, because some of these events, you have to come back the day that you catch an over. You know, if you want to bring one of the scales, the day you catch it, you have to bring it in. You can't wait till the end of the event. So some of these teams don't want to run too far away, because that is money in their pocket. So if you go out to those rigs, to the deeper fathoms that we were talking about with Matt Klosterman, that is one strategy that you can get tuna, you can get blue marlin, But when you move a little closer to some of the natural, more shallower areas, that's where you're going to see a lot of the mix. You can always catch white marlin out where the rigs are at times, but catching whites, sails, and blues, you can do that shallower here. One great thing about TIFT, about the continental shelf, is about 40 to 50 miles compared to some places where it's 100, 120 just to get to the shelf. It's much closer here. The runs aren't as far. One big thing that Sigsbee Deep noticed this week, I mean, it's something new. They fished this tournament quite a bit, but something new for them, sonar. The ability to use certain types of sonar and what they've learned from their backyard tournament with the advantages of sonar, some of those 360 models, some of those, you know, how far they can see out, just locating bait, locating depths and structure, seeing specific fish they can pitch to. The sonar is the game. We see that in the freshwater, but it definitely factors here as well if you know how to read it.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie. You had a lot of technology being used by all of our teams out there. Ronnie Moore on site with Site 1, and the Gulf Division overall points quantified, running away with the title in the Sport Fishing Championship. And with that, Peter, a $100,000 prize.
That is a $100,000 check, and there's still $1 million to give away in Puerto Rico in a couple weeks.
Yeah, South Padre Island played host to our final Gulf Division event. Will, in 2 weeks' time, crown an overall champion. Quantified leads that one as well. Looking at the Garmin Team Spotter is how it happened throughout the week. Again, they went out Friday, fished Saturday as well. Some of them went back and forth, but some stayed out for both days. But Quantified look a little closer, a little tighter to the flats. And this is taking a look at their first day of fishing.
That's right. They were kind of right on that shelf, right at the beginning of it, a kind of a narrower, shallower slope, if you will.
Leader. Quantified actually had the second catch of the tournament by our unofficial timing. Sigsbee Deep had the first.
Nice casual sailfish release.
You're in the park, right?
Yeah. A ride in the park.
Quantified followed it up later on. They caught the first one right about the 8 o'clock hour. I think at 2 o'clock they had another sailfish on day number 1.
Looks like another sail right there. Backing up, you can see that camera is trained right in the center there where that fish is jumping. Perfect shot. Allowing you to see that sail, identifying the species, making it easy for everyone.
Multiple sailfish as well. They would catch their second, third, their fourth, all in day number 1. These sailfish keep adding up. The sailfish were 75 points. The whites worth a little bit more, but they would end their day on a hot note on day number 1 with that blue marlin. Again, they had to have their lines out of the water at 6:30, and around 4:30 they caught a blue. Now that was big points for them.
And again, that's the perfect size marlin. That's the one you want to bite. The smaller the marlin, the better. The faster you get the release, and you get back to fishing. Those big marlin are a lot of fun. They're beautiful to see, but boy, when you're trying to rack those points, you want them short and narrow and quick to the boat. And this one, Robbie, I believe was lassoed, Texas style, through the mouth, around the dorsal, hook catches the line behind it, and that is a legal catch. They got that fish to the boat. I fought one once just like that for 1 hour, got it to the boat, and I couldn't believe that the hook wasn't actually in the mouth of the fish. It was absolutely remarkable that it stayed on.
Yeah, it's not hurting the fish. I mean, it's just not caught in the mouth. They're going to try and release that and cut it off and let it back out there. But again, that is a qualified catch as soon as they make contact with that leader there.
Which they have for quite a while right now. They're just trying to do what's right and get things kind of cleaned up over there. And, you know, when you hook a fish like that, sometimes they'll fight 3, 4, 5 times as hard as they normally would. So you might think when you first hook it and you're fighting it that you have a jumbo on. But it turned out to just be a real strong, powerful shorty.
Strength in numbers. Those numbers are trying to get 350 points for the blue marlin. Sigsbee Deep, we saw how strong they were at the start of the day. Again, I said they had the first catch unofficially, that being a white marlin. So they were our first leaders, and they would finish the way that they started.
That's right. They got their tag stick out. They got their mate saver to cut them off. They got their cameras. They got measuring tapes. They've got their headsets. They've got a little bit of everything going on that boat. They're a well-oiled machine. That right there is a good fish. That is blasting some water out there.
That's right.
That's a thick white marlin right there. I thought it was a blue marlin earlier, and it's going by fast.
A couple of whites by 10 o'clock hour. They caught one at 7:57, then followed it up, I believe, at 10:42.
Careful. Big. Dylan.
They were in the white marlin, right? What was our total at the end of the day? I mean, at the end of the week,
They had 10 whites, 3 sails, and a blue, and we saw that blue.
All right, I got it. Good.
Another tag in the shoulder of a white marlin.
He
Swimming
gone.
away.
He gone. She gone. More points. They pay the big bucks. We'll go on the water with Team Rising Suns. You would talk about big blue. I don't know if this is the one. It's got to be. It's got to be the one. That is a big blue we're about to see here in a minute on the Sport Fishing Championship on sportfishingchampionship.com. Stick with us from South Padre Island.
SFC coverage of the Texas International Fishing Tournament is sponsored by Seaholm Watches, by Smith Optics, and by Fish Razor.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Remember, everything begins in the morning. Every story told is a fisherman's tale. We build watches tough enough to be a part of that tale. The perfect balance of beauty and brawn. We are Seaholm. Watches that last a lifetime. Seaholm Automatic, the official timepiece of the Sport Fishing Championship.
See it, live it, love it. The largest in-water boat show in the world, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. More than 3 million square feet, fishing boats to super yachts, engines, accessories, learning experiences, and culinary delights. Save the dates, October 26th through 30th. Details at flibs.com.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough. Or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Some call it joie de vivre, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at louisianatravel.com.
SFC coverage of the Texas International Fishing Tournament is sponsored by Sword Fishing Products, by Vineyard Wind. And by Yugo.
Wrapping up the Gulf Division Championship at the Texas International Fishing Tournament from South Padre Island. Getting a lot of vacationers down there, the southern tip of Texas. Blue waters, fishy waters. And the Gulf Division points had quantified on top coming into this round. They would end this round on top ahead of Moncherie and the rest. But another team we're looking at, a couple that were here fishing this weekend, Team Rebecca in 8th, but also Rising Suns in 4th. They could maybe sneak their way by Southern Charm and Moncherie. To do that, you need to catch some bigs, or you need to catch some numbers. You need to catch those 350-point fish, the blue marlin.
It's all about the numbers. And here we have Rising Suns. You can tell they've got a fish on, and they're getting ready to pass the rod to the young lady in the chair.
I kind of let the cat out of the bag. I can let the cat out of the bag. I said you need to catch some bigs. You don't. As you mentioned, it's good to have some small blue marlin. This is anything but a small blue marlin.
You want quantity of whites and sails, and you want nice small blue marlin, which are 350 points apiece. What we have here on Team Rising Suns is not a small blue marlin. This is a jumbo. This is a massive, massive fish tearing up the water. One of the most exciting things you can see when you're out there fishing. And that's what everyone here lives for. This is a sport fishing championship, and it's all about billfish tearing up the water.
Make sure my rod's sitting straight on the line. Now drop it.
ABW, always be working. He's backing, you're cranking. That fish settles down, you think you can press? No, that's when you need to wind. That fish is right below the boat.
It ain't easy. I mean, this is not easy.
Not being breezy.
She's looking for some stability there, using those legs, using that bootay to try and squat down into that chair, using all the mechanical advantage she can.
But it goes to show you with the technique and everyone participating and helping, you know, a 100-pound soaking wet woman right there can bring in a 500-pound blue marlin like we see behind the boat, and that's impressive.
That is a big fish back there on the Rising Suns.
Good job. Pole count. Good job, guys.
It was a pretty hard fight. He took a lot of line at the beginning, and I had a really hard time getting it back. But eventually, I powered through and got him up to the boat. He's a few inches short, but we like to watch him swim off. So it was a good thing to watch, good thing to experience. I'm hoping that we get 2 or 3 more out here soon.
A billfish trying to spit the bit there, and I mean the big waggle that hit everything you want except for expediency. And she said she lost ground. I see why she lost ground. That was a toad.
That's right. And you've seen the movie, and it's called an office pop. We're going to call that a boat pop. She's popping her fireworks into the air, her confetti.
D to the double E. Let's find out how they did with our Garmin Team Spotter out there on the water. Seeing a little bit different class of rod and reel combination. Now, why is the line going upwards, Peter?
It is in his hand. He can feel it, and it's going through the outrigger clip, out to the back, and the fish is going to pop it out of that rigger clip, and he's going to know it before it happens because his hand is on the rod, it's on the reel, and he can feel it. And that's what you want when it comes to white marlin. You have to be ready at all times. They are sneaky, they are tricky, they are short strikers, and they will leave as fast as they showed up.
Double E had a few sailfish caught this weekend, and one white marlin. Unofficially, I believe my tally had them right around a tie for 12th place, paired with like A-Team and El Patron, who El Patron's one of the top teams, and they didn't have a top 10 in them this weekend.
That's right. You know, Double E, I believe they got about 4 billfish, 3 sails, and a white. You know, they were doing work, they're in the right spot, and it's just sometimes, you know, you go over the right spot at the right time, they're ready to feed, and you entice them into your spread by the perfect presentation.
Captain Kevin Scott putting them on those fish.
Definitely some fishy waters off Texas.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the nice thing is that it's much closer to shore than we've seen in the Gulf, and that is a big benefit to all the anglers and the cameramen.
I joked earlier in our CBS show about, I mean, these are some uncharted waters. I mean, this makes you want to go out there and fish yourself, right?
Oh yeah, especially when it's calm like that. It looks doable, and it really is doable. And you can actually fish for the day and come back and then go back out. Some of these spots, you know, you run out 250 miles, 300 miles, you're not going anywhere. You're staying there for 3 days.
Well, the thing is, you could run 200 miles out and not catch a thing. I mean, they're going up 40 to 50 miles, and they're catching a bunch here at the Sport Fishing Championship.
Yeah, he's a little bitty. Are we keeping him? 57. Let it go. All right, you want to let me go?
And another release of a sail.
Woo! That was a husky boy right there. Big shoulders on that sailfish.
And think about it, when we were at Martha's Vineyard, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that was the only species we didn't see of the billfish. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, but we
saw spearfish and swords.
Yeah, but we caught 54 of them here in Texas. Let's move over to Rebecca, again, another one of our top 10 in the Gulf Division with our Garmin Team Spotter, a little bit further down or up the coast, however way you want to look at it. Weather didn't look quite as good for them.
You know it's moist when the guys are backed up and they're standing kind of far from the covering boards there at the transom. You know, the waves are, you know, getting blown in by the wind as they're backing down, but, you know, he's slowing down now. I tell you, when it starts getting sloppy, you'll see the guys start gingerly or quietly backing up just to stay out of that whitewash, like right there.
Yeah, you might be having those baggies on, those board shorts, but you don't want to get wet. You're out there the full day. But temperature's in the 90s, up to 100 degrees down there on the coast.
Baggies.
I
haven't heard that in a long time.
In the 90s, that's what they were called.
That's right. Or should I say, that's right.
That's right.
It's a good problem when you have to clean your glasses with, you know, a microfiber or a paper towel, you know, every 5 minutes. That means you're catching fish. Or it's really windy. But in this case, Team Rebecca, they're catching fish.
Yeah, very calm about their approach. They had that 0-point event at the second stop of the Gulf Coast Masters, but 7th, 8th, 17th were our best 3 finishes coming into this round. They're going to finish in 3rd here. Quite the improvement. A very solid way to end the Gulf Division.
I should say so. And if anyone's wondering what that yellow contraption is on the bottom of his rod, it's called a rod cush. That gives you a little bit of you know, padding right there on your hip bone where you're going to be winding from. Instead of wearing a fighting belt, instead of locking into a chair, that's how we fight stand up for long battles on reasonable fish.
I've been dieting, but I've been building up my rod cush for years.
That's right. You know, that's you know, something we all do at this age. You know, entering your 50s, you got a lot of cushion for the fishing.
Let's go. Hold on, let's put this line real quick. Release.
There's that chuggerhead, trimmed up chuggerhead by Fish Razor.
And another successful release for Team Rebecca, one of our Texas teams, a triumvirate up at the top of Texas teams.
11 billfish under their belts for the tournament.
Absolutely. There are 6 whites and 5 different sailfish. They all add up to points. We're going to crown a champion. We return. We know Quantified took the Gulf Division in the Sport Fishing Championship, 6 feet deep. They were going neck and neck here at the TIFT event. Again, it's the 82nd annual.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Sometimes saying no can be really difficult. It's hard to set boundaries, to give yourself space and time. Hop water means never having to choose between having fun or missing out. A sparkling hop water full of flavor and packed with mood-boosting benefits that's non-alcoholic with no calories, no carbs, and no sugar. So go out there and get up to no good.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.
SFC coverage of the Texas International Fishing Tournament is sponsored by Invincible Boats, by Cypress Cove Marina, and by Salt Life.
I remember the days of my youth flailing around in those blue waters in South Padre Island. Oh, I had such a great time, Peter Miller. I want to go back.
Flailing. That's not a word you hear every day. You're flailing. Like almost like you needed a rescue from the lifeguard. There's Robbie. He's flailing again.
Absolutely. That was my game. Sport Fishing Championship here at the TIFT event. These are the final results. Sigsbee Deep closed it out strong there towards the end. I think, 2, 3 sailfish to end their day. That's what put them ahead of the rest.
Strong finish for all the boats there. I mean, come on. They caught a third of all the fish that were caught in the entire tournament. Over 100 billfish caught and released. This was some tournament. Texas has a lot of fish.
Yeah, those top 3 were fantastic with their total catches 14, 8, and 11 respectively. But that boat in second, Quantified, they didn't win the battle, but they won the war. They won the Gulf Division. Quantified is your first Sport Fishing Championship Gulf Division champions. Here's a look at all the fans that came out to watch them come into shore, but also to the prizes and the awarding and the cash.
Robbie, there was no coincidence that they took it to the hole for this one for the Gulf Division. They stayed so consistent with a first, and a second, and they dropped their 7th. This is some great stuff, and they're celebrating with that champagne. Everyone's got their goggles on.
Popping bottles, as always, Sport Fishing Championship, and this team caught up with Ronnie Moore earlier after winning the first ever championship.
Final day here at the 82nd Annual TIFT Tournament, wrapping up the Sport Fishing Championship Gulf Division. We're here with Quantified Captain Justin Drummond. What a fantastic year. You guys are the Gulf champions, $100,000 to your credit, but also 2 victories this year. What's it mean just to have such a stellar run of events? 5 tournaments, 2 wins, a 2nd place, fantastic season.
It's just like surreal, you know. It's just, I don't even know, you know. It's just nice.
You're blown away, but it's been a lot of hard work for you guys to get here. You fished your whole life. There's a lot that goes into it, chasing down blue marlin, white marlin, sailfish, and you guys mixed them in with the best of them. Some tournaments you really capitalized on blues. Some of them you excelled with sails and whites, but you really showed your diversity and your skill. For you guys now going to Puerto Rico, there's $1 million on your mind. That's pretty cool that you guys can be the best at this in the Gulf and have a chance to take home another payday in just a few weeks.
I mean, yeah, if it wasn't on our mind, we wouldn't be, we wouldn't be here. So, yeah, absolutely.
For people who are tuning in that may not know much about bill fishing and the process, like you said off camera, you've been doing it since you're 8 years old. You know this area, you know the people around it. What's it take just to be able to be a captain of a boat that's so successful? I mean, you got to keep a tight ship, but you have to trust your crewmates as well.
I mean, what it takes. I just try to keep it between the lines, dude. You know, I mean, what it takes is different from each crew or each captain to what their program is. You know, we're just fortunate that everything unfolded the way it did.
You had the nickname Peter Miller said Tex because you moved to Miami when you were young. You fished around there, but now you're back and this is your home port. For you to make it, not only do well 2nd place here at home, but to go to Gulf Shores and win, and then to go to Destin and win. Does that make you feel just so much better to do it in so many different stops along the way? Not just at home. You could be a local favorite, but to do it across the Gulf, that's very impressive.
I mean, it doesn't make me feel any better, you know. Just we're going to give it 110% everywhere we go, and like I said, when it all unfolds, is how the cards play out is how it plays out. But is being better than anybody else. We definitely don't think that we're better than anybody else. We try to work harder than everybody else, and if we believe that the more work, the more reward.
The more work, the more reward. Matt Klosterman was telling me about you guys last fall. He said you guys were one of the first teams interested in participating and being a part of the SFC, and obviously 1 year later to see you guys with $100,000 more, not only with your winnings this season, but $100,000 as the points champs, possible $1 million, almost shoe-ins. We'll see how it goes in Puerto Rico, but Captain Justin Drummond, the Quantified, they just want to do what they do best and catch billfish in the Gulf better than anyone else.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie. Thank you, Tex. I think his tail was dragging just a little bit. That was 2 strong days of fishing. And we're looking live now, and this is actually the awards presentation at the TIFT event. I'm sure that some people probably have it on sportfishingchampionship.com as we speak. But again, now it's time to pay the checks, pass out those trophies and the accolades.
That's right. And as you see, it's a family affair, and I love to see that at these events, and everyone gets to take part and, see everything that happens and all the preparation that goes into it and all the fun that you can have. And at the end of it all, someone gets crowned a champion. Not just 1, not just 2, but if you look, there were trophies all throughout. Hey, look at that dog. I think we know that.
Hey, new mascot.
Yeah.
It's our old mascot. These trophies, you get your name on that trophy and it gets passed on for generation after generation. I'm kind of missing out on some of that shrimp boil going on right there, but so many things to do and see as part of the Sport Fishing Championship, giving back to the communities as well. There's a lot of things to talk about as we progress towards our final stop. And one of those things, I know Mark Neifeld, when you and I had talked with him about how there's new fads out there in Puerto Rico. We're going to be there in 2 weeks. We're going to see them paying off. They said immediately when they put those fish aggregating devices out there offshore, they were already attracting some of those smaller bait fish, and that's what it's all about.
And that doesn't always happen. There's times you can put those fads out and they don't attract fish. You might see 20 in a row and you'll work a certain group of them and you won't get a bite. And all of a sudden you you find this one fad that is loaded with bait. It has the right chemistry, the right recipe, and you will catch marlin. We caught a marlin once, dropped a cameraman in. He said another marlin swam past him the opposite way and kind of eyeballed him. That was a hot fad, and that's what we're going to see in Puerto Rico on this new fad.
Hot fad. Hot fad. There's our new key term. Let's take a look ahead with Smith Optics. We're going to see quite a few hot fads, and we get to go see it in person along with the Gale Force twins. We're going over at Billfish Alley, Marlin Alley. They're going to be plentiful. We saw a lot of whites at Dominican Republic. Here, I think we're going to see some more blues.
I think we're going to see a nice smattering of both. God, I love that dredge going by with those mud flaps, and then all of a sudden, there comes a marlin. He's got to take a peek, and that's a nice, like we talk about, a fun-sized marlin on the surface. That's a little jumbo. You can see by the big shoulders. Hopefully we see a few of those. That's just beautiful to see tearing up the water.
Some zippity-doo-dah through the bait there, and the thing is, they're not having to go very far offshore as well. We said 40 to 60 miles where the shelf is here. 10? I mean, not even 5?
Yeah.
2?
Yeah, they play the weather sometimes. You know, the fishing's so good around there, they'll play the weather if they want to fish on the lee side or if they want to go head into it, depending on the wind. But they have great fishing over there. So we're going to see blues, we're going to see whites, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to be on site for this $1 million giveaway.
How much? $1 million. The International Billfish Tournament. Peter Miller's there. I'm Robbie Floyd. I'm going to be there. The Gale Force twins. We'll see you next time, August 18th, 19th, and we will crown a champion on August 20th. $1 million, Peter. Maybe we get a little kickback. I don't think so.
Listen, just hang on their coattails after they get that check, and we'll go hang out with them, party with them for the night.
Thanks for watching SportFishingChampionship.com.